Um, so welcome everyone to our third. So this is our last for this academic year anyway, termly hub information webinar. So we run these every term, and I've very familiar faces on this. So I know quite a few of you have been coming to those. Any previous ones are, as I mentioned earlier, are on our YouTube channel, and I'll put the link to that in the chat in just a second. And after this event, probably once it's downloaded, so it'll probably be tomorrow morning, the recording for this will also go into the YouTube channel as well, so you'll be able to access it if you do want to get go back and sort of think, oh, what did they say about world skills or whatever it was. So it'll be there available to that. I can see some of you are introducing yourself in the chat. Great to see that. Do pop your name and where you're from in the chat so that we can see who's around in case you want to make any of those connections. We've got 3 speakers for today's session, and that you could either feel free to put the questions in the chat as we're going along if you'd like to do that, or indeed after each presentation from each of the speakers there'll be an opportunity for a quick Q&A for that too. We then have a little bit of an update from the hub, or we might do that beforehand actually. Thinking about it, I might do that now if we've got 10 minutes until Paul comes in, and then there'll be plenty of opportunity at the end for any other questions that you might want to ask the hub team. So whilst we've got 10 minutes until Paul starts, what I'll do is I'll do my little hub update now, because it won't take that long to do. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys so that you can see this. Just two little updates from me. Oh, she says, there we go. 2 updates from me, or from the Careers Hub. And you'll see in the chat that the different enterprise coordinators and Charlotte, who's our operational hub lead, have introduced themselves in the chat as well. 2 things from me. One is our teacher encounters. So as you should all be very aware, we're running our pilot for the Careers and Enterprise Company Teacher Encounters project at the moment. Although it says for Teacher Encounters, actually anyone that works within any educational setting. We have done all of the webinars now, and again, all available on our YouTube channel if you want to look over any of those. And what we have now until the end, I think it's mid-June actually, or end of June, is the workplace visits. So these are usually about half a day, going to the employer workplace, and a really fantastic opportunity for you to get to know the different employers, to have a visit around what they do, find out the sorts of activities that they can offer to the young people and students that you support, find out about their different apprenticeship opportunities, different types of careers, the skill shortage that we've got in those areas. So we know from the last careers leader network day that we did back in March that one of the biggest things that our careers leaders are asking for is opportunities to engage with employers to increase employer engagement within schools and colleges, and this is a fantastic way of doing it. All of these employers are really super keen to get involved with different schools and colleges in their areas, and you can book on using the Eventbrite. So I'll put the link to this in the chat in just a second. Places are limited, so most of them are anywhere between 7 and 12 places available, so places are limited, so you will need to book onto them. Ones that we've got coming up, so Morgan Siddle Property Services down in, it's just outside of Basildon, they're offering one. PFS Group, which is based in Shoebury, so they are a fire safety group, and have got some really fantastic progression opportunities for young people there, so that they're offering one. FiServ, we're just confirming the date, so they're a finance information company. RWE Renewables, that's up in the tendering area, so they operate the wind farms off of Clacton and those areas. BAE Systems in Chelmsford, that's their data side of that. So particularly if you've got any maths, data, statistics, engineering, those sorts of students would be fantastic for that. And Connacht and Minolta as well, I believe, are offering one too. So again, quite a tech company as well. And there's more being added, so do always keep an eye on that Eventbrite page. So I suppose the ask from us at the moment is that with the schools and colleges that you are working in and that you work with, do promote this to all of your staff, careers leaders included. So careers leaders are very, very welcome to come along to these, as are any teaching staff, any support staff. And I know in one of the colleges they were hoping that some of their IT technicians would be able to go along to the BAE Systems one, for example. That's absolutely fine as well, because we know that the young people are having conversations with everyone within schools and colleges about future opportunities that can be passed down. So do spread that far and wide within your schools and colleges, please. We do also have, and we haven't particularly promoted this yet, but we do also have another opportunity that if within any of the schools and colleges in Essex you'd like to run a careers carousel, so speed dating basically for your staff, we would need to do that. At the moment we would need to do that before the end of July, so I realise that time is extremely limited on that. But if you are interested in doing that, perhaps as a twilight or as a optional thing for your staff to do, then do let us know, either through your enterprise coordinator or direct to the careers hub email, and then we can look to arrange that for you as well. And this is just a pilot, so we have had funding for this year to pilot it. And if it's successful and we get the take up that we're looking for, then we will look to repeat it next year. As it stands at the moment, the take up from employers they're really, really keen. The take up from education has been quite limited. So at the moment, potentially we probably wouldn't run it next year, but hoping that the workplace visits will increase with sign-ups a little bit. And the other thing just to remind you of is our next Careers Leader Network events. These are our in-person termly events. Our next one is on the 13th of June in Chelmsford, with a real focus on encounters, particularly employer encounters. So we have a trainer coming in to run through a session on how to make use of alumni within your employer encounters. We also have a session on making full use of your enterprise advisors as well, particularly as some of those will start to move to sort of a bit more of a task and finish model. So really being able to support key areas within your school or college. You'll be able to hear from employers on their school and college programs and why they really quite desperately want to engage with you guys. We will have progression providers, particularly supporting for the schools the PAL provision, so the provider of access to legislation, and we'll also have quite a few careers activity providers as well there. So looking for sort of the different activities and things that you might want to run in perhaps next academic year. I'll put the links to both of those in the chat in just a second, both the teacher encounters and the Careers Leader Network. But as I say, the Careers Leader Network, 13th of June in Chelmsford. It's at the County Hotel in Chelmsford. We are looking for next year. We're already looking at our venues, so we'll be moving them around the county a little bit as we go forward as well. But that's where our next one is, in Chelmsford. Any questions on either of those two things, on teacher encounters or on the Careers Leader Network? Silence. Okay, fabulous. Charlotte.
Sorry, I did ask.
Ah.
I did post something on the chat.
It's an
As an employer, is there a template for this at all in terms of the teacher?
For the teacher encounters?
Yeah.
So with this being a pilot, what we're doing is we're supporting on an individual level with those employers this year for this round, because it is a pilot. So we're using them as guinea pigs to develop those templates. What will happen at the end of this pilot, so it will be developed over the summer, is that we'll pull together all the different templates and models that the different employers used, and indeed the pros and cons to them, what worked well, what didn't work so well, and put it into a bit of a pack, so other employers can look to use that for future events as well. So that they'll end up being probably about 5 or 6 different models that you could then pick up and use in your own organisation if you wanted to.
Yeah, I did get contacted earlier, but unfortunately I've been away for a little while from work. So I didn't get a chance to sort it out. But I would be interested.
Yeah, fantastic. And what we're also running well, we're going to pilot it as a really small pilot this year, but then we'll be rolling out at a bigger scale next year, is Open Doors. So this is essentially the workplace visits that we're running through Teacher Encounters, but for young people instead. So the young people will be able to book onto that as well. So that might be something, Neil, that you might want to get involved with that as well.
Yeah, I did one a while ago for one of the schools.
Great. So. Yeah. So we're going to pilot that with just a few employers and schools this academic year, and then roll it out as a support for, particularly for Gatsby Benchmark 6, so that in experience of the workplace for next academic year. So can definitely get you involved in that one, Neil.
Okay, thanks.
Fabulous. Charlotte, shall I hand over to you for the speakers?
Yep. Well then, have everyone got permission to share, Hyla?
Yeah, they should be able to share. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I know that Paul is here because I've seen him on the participant list.
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
There you are.
Don't worry.
Right, hello. So we've got 3 speakers, about 15 minutes for each speaker. But if you think of a question as they go along, feel free to put them in the chat. We're starting with Paul from Advancing Access. So do you want to share your screen, Paul?
Yeah, I'll just try and get it up. Just give me a sec. Right, I think it's loading up. Can anyone see it yet?
Doing something.
Yeah, my computer's a little slow.
There we go. It's on. Whenever you're ready, you can start.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for load it up to me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We can see it.
Yeah, no, it is there. Thanks. Well, hello. Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Paul. I'm from an organisation called Advancing Access. If you haven't heard of us, what we do is we provide free CPD for teachers, careers advisors, and careers leaders. And the aim of the game is to enable them to support more of their students to progress to some of the UK's most competitive universities. And what we do is we provide web resources, online and offline conferences, CPD sessions in individual schools and colleges. And we're funded by university widening participation teams, and we have a widening participation focus. You'll be aware of the fact that young people from a poorer background are less likely to go to university compared to those from a more well-off background. But that is a particular problem at more competitive and more selective universities. These are the different universities we work with. So these are the universities that fund the project, and they are the Russell Group of universities. So these are quite research intensive universities, and on average, they have fairly high entry requirements, sometimes a little bit higher than certain other universities. Now, in terms of what we've got available for teachers, careers advisors and careers leaders, we've got a big website full of useful resources for you. That's been going for about 7 years now, and we're continuing to improve that over time. We've got loads of downloadable resources you can use. I should say, by the way, I will circulate these slides at the end. We've got loads of downloadable resources that you can use. We've grouped them together into 4 different strands. The first one is about choosing a university and course. We've got a strand all about helping students to apply for university. That includes things like getting the personal statement right, writing the teacher reference. There's a strand all around understanding the admissions process. And then there's a strand around supporting students to make the right choices for post-16 study, i.e. those choices that they're typically making in year 11 about what to do next. And these are some screenshots from the website. So we have some very detailed guidebooks full of resources, shorter information sheets, resources that you can give to students. So you can download these and print them out and provide them to students to use. So we've got resources about choosing courses or helping them to put together a first draft of their personal statement, for example. We've even got presentations that you can use with accompanying notes in terms of how to use them if you want to deliver training sessions yourself for groups of colleagues in your school or college. We've also got some interactive CPD modules on the website. These are a bit newer, and these are self-directed resources that you'll progress through. They contain a mixture of different content. So there's some information to read, but there's also video clips, quizzes, case studies, activities for you to try, and so on. So you need to put a little bit of time aside to do one of these. We suggest typically 30 to 45 minutes to progress through one of these. And at the end, we'll encourage you to draw together your own action plan, which you can then download and print off if you like, so you know what to do next in terms of your development. The different interactive modules we've got available on the website, we've got 2 strands of modules. The first is all about creating a culture of success in your school or college. So it centres around things like supporting disadvantaged students to progress to university, creating that culture of aspiration and celebration. Enlisting your alumni, i.e. former students who used to attend your school or college, bringing them back, getting them to work with current students and acting as inspirational role models, collaborating with other schools and colleges. And obviously, you know, careers hubs such as this are a great opportunity for you to network with other schools and colleges and draw upon the different strengths of some of the different schools in your area. Getting to grips with the destinations data in your setting. So a lot of schools are very engaged with their attainment data, perhaps spend a little bit less time scrutinising their destinations data. But where are students going after they leave, and how does that compare with where they wanted to go or hoped to go? We can also help you with designing a programme of impactful encounters with different universities and helping students to gain benefit from super curricular activities. These are extra things that they might do that go beyond the usual syllabus, the usual curriculum, and they're especially useful in helping students to progress to some of the most competitive universities like Oxford and Cambridge, for example. We've also got a strand of resources on supporting students into competitive universities in general, and I think I've covered some of these things already. Personal statements, references, interviews and admissions tests, choices at 16, choosing university courses. In fact, I should have updated that new session coming soon. That has now come. So we've got a brand new session on the website on effective UCAS references. You may have heard that this has changed just within the last few months. So if you're supporting the current year 12s to put in their UCAS applications, and they may already be starting to think about their personal statement and submitting their applications later this year, it will be a new process for the reference that the teacher has to provide. These are some screenshots from our interactive CPD modules. As I say, there's a mixture of different content, activities, quizzes. It's not just sitting and reading a wall of text. And I'll show you a quick snippet of a video clip from one of the modules too. So when we were putting these together, we filmed some video case studies from a group of different schools. Schools who are doing quite well in this area of sending students on to more competitive universities, including schools who maybe have more disadvantaged cohorts themselves. Hopefully this works.
Come in here.
So that gives you a little flavour of what we have on offer in some of those modules. There's 2 videos in each module for you to look at. Some other things we offer. So we host at least one virtual online conference per year for teachers and advisors. And as part of this, we deliver a mixture of different webinars presented by staff from our university partners. We also have a virtual stall with a stall from each of the 24, a virtual exhibition hall, I suppose, with a stall from each of the Russell Group universities, and a staff room chat where you can network with different teachers and advisors from all across the UK. If you keep an eye on our website, you'll get further details of events. We're not doing another one this academic year, but we are planning one in November. So if you sign up for an account on the website and add yourself to the mailing list, you'll get an email notifying you of when these events are taking place. And this is what they look like. So you can see in the top left, the exhibition hall there, an example of an individual stall, an example of a webinar taking place, and the discussion forum as well. But we also do one-off webinars from time to time. We've got one this week, actually, but it's fully booked, and it is on references, but we're doing the same thing again a week on Monday due to the high demand. So if you would like to take part in a free 1-hour webinar on the subject of the new UCAS reference, you can click that link through and sign up for that. We've also got one of our offline kind of in-person CPD conferences taking place. So this is a full day event. This is going to be on Tuesday, the 27th of June in Stevenage. Now, we're extending the registration to this more widely, probably on Monday, the next Monday. When we first open registration for these things, we start off by limiting it to teachers who work in the nearby local authorities. So we've been registering teachers who work in either Hertfordshire or Luton for that event, but we have got some places left for it. So I'm hoping on Monday we'll be sending the first kind of big publicity email out for that. So if teachers in other areas want to register and come along, then they can do. So if you sign up for our mailing list, then I'll put a link up towards the end. You should receive an invitation to take part in that free event in Stevenage. And we'll be having staff along from, I think, at least 13 of our different university partners in that. UCAS are coming along to do a talk, a UCAS update at the end of the day. And we have a keynote speaker from the Sutton Trust as well, talking about the issue of social mobility and supporting more students from a disadvantaged background to attend competitive universities. Also, we do individual CPD sessions for groups of colleagues in particular schools and colleges. So you can request these from our website, and we do these on a range of different topics, as you can see on the screen. However, as was mentioned in the introduction today, I am planning on coming along to your upcoming event in Chelmsford on the 13th of June. So if you are interested in having a CPD session, another option there is to come and speak to me on the day. We'll try and set up a little stall there. And it's possible we could even see if we've got maybe a group of different schools in Essex who would like a CPD session. We can see if we can try and arrange something together for you, rather than us just trying to deal with individual schools one by one. But if you would like to kind of flag your interest by contacting us with this link and requesting a session, then please do so as well. I'll just show you a few other bits before I finish. So we have the Advancing Access blog. I think a new blog has gone up today, actually, just on the theme of, or is going up today, on the theme of responding to UCAS offers. So we try to put up topical information that's relevant for different points within the UCAS cycle. We've got a guide to contextual admissions processes at the Ross Group universities in general, some general principles, but then links to the particular policies at all of the different universities that we work with. And it's a similar thing with bursaries, which I think obviously is especially relevant during the current cost of living crisis. We have links to different bursary opportunities available for undergraduate students at all of our different partner universities. And there's all sorts of different things available. Some are more general that you could automatically qualify for if your household income is below a certain level. But then there's a few more specialist ones as well to do with sport, music, targeting people who live in certain parts of the country, and so on. Finally, just before I finish and take any questions that you might have, if you would like to find out more about Advancing Access, then please join our mailing list. So you can scan that code, or hopefully that works for you to click through on the link. We don't send you too many emails, only very occasionally. And most of the emails we send are kind of inviting you along to big free events that we've got coming up, whether it's one of our virtual conference events or that event in Stevenage that I just mentioned. I'll leave it there then. But you can also follow us on Twitter as well. And yeah, let me know if you've got any questions, or alternatively, feel free to email us as well. I will try and post a link to this presentation now in the chat, so you can download that if you want to.
Thanks, Paul. Has anyone got any questions? Isla.
Sorry, not really a question, but Paul, more than happy if we do have groups from Essex Essex schools that want to do some of your CPD, or perhaps our careers advisors, then more than happy through the hub to help facilitate that and bring that all together. I think that would work really well, particularly as I know we've got quite a lot of different careers advisors as well as our careers leaders, of course. So yeah, happy to help support that. Perhaps we'll see what the uptake's like at our careers leader network, and then go from there if you'd like.
Yeah, like I say, I spoke to Charlotte about this previously, and yeah, as I say, if I set up a little stall at the event in Chelmsford, and if people can come and maybe let me know if they're interested, or if you can't make it, or you just want to email us separately, then that's fine. And then we can see what we can do if we can organise something together.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I'm just going to paste the link into the chat. Hopefully this works. So I think that should be a PDF of the presentation.
Let's see. It's worked for me.
Brilliant. I have got to shoot off, I'm afraid. But yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And yeah, who knows, maybe I'll see some of you next month.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Bye. Right, now for something completely different. Lynette, you're in here. I saw you on the participation list. Where is she gone? Lynette? There she is.
Hi.
Hi, you're here.
I'm here.
You're here. So we've got Lynette. She's from Career Ready. Do you want to share your screen?
Yes. I've done just a short presentation, so I'll just quickly do that for you. Hi, everyone. As Charlotte said, I'm Lynette. I'm from Career Ready. I am one of the regional managers, and I cover the area of Essex and Suffolk. So we'll just share what we do. So we have a program called Career Ready. And basically, this is what our aim is. So we work with schools and colleges, as well as obviously employers. And our aim is to work with young people with social mobility. And so with the program, it consists of these aims: mentoring, masterclasses, internship, and workplace visits. So we are connected at the moment across, for me, Suffolk and Essex. So I have 5 schools that I work with in Essex and 1 in Ipswich. And within that program, we have selected students that are interviewed within those different schools, and they're selected to be on this program. It can range from having 10 to having 25 students on board. And what that program consists of is that we then connect them with mentors. These are mentors within various different industries. We try to, from their application, whether they're into finance or whether into the creative arts, and whatever it may be, we try to connect them accordingly to a mentor that is within that industry. And with that mentor goes through them throughout the 12-month period. So from January to December, they have an hour session within each month to basically go support them in career goals, personal goals, and really just try to provide them with new opportunities, networking opportunities, and just help them to skill up. So that's a really good relationship that they build, and obviously we contact various different companies and partners to share with us. And part of that is that we do masterclasses. So within that 12-month period, we have 6 or so masterclasses that the young people connect with, and we go into the schools and we provide an hour session that could be either delivered by us, but mainly we have the employers, whether some of them might be the mentors, or some of them might be part of our partners, and that will come in and deliver sessions such as communication and networking, success and interviewing. We also do know yourself. So know yourself is about kind of knowing what your skills are, finding out what your skills are and your abilities are, and honing in on that, as well as kind of just learning more about themselves in order to kind of know what type of area they potentially might want to go into. And then one of our major aims is to provide a 4-week paid internship. And this is obviously working with various different partners, but also as a regional manager, I will then try to source internships for these young people, and this happens within July and August. And with that being said, they have paid internship. We kind of have worked with SMEs, and we have certain funding that can come in to support the SMEs in providing that. And we work with them to tailor a job description that would then the young people then would apply for, and they will have like an informal interview, which we prepare them for, because that's part of our master classes as well, where we prepare them for the internships, where they'll be able to have a little interview and go on the 4-week internship. And one of the great things that we want to do is workplace visits. So they get to go to various different industries and environments and be able to have a tour of the place, have an interaction with the various different employees that work there, may have like a CV workshop, or learning more about that particular industry, and just really getting them out into the world, out into the workplace, and getting a taste of the various different industries that are available to them. So within this program, they're assisted and supported by a coordinator at each school, and I myself would liaise frequently with the coordinator to obviously come in and support the students throughout the program. So that's what we're currently doing at the moment. At the moment, our aim is focused at internships at the moment, and we're just obviously trying to connect. What we do say to our students is that there's not a guaranteed internship, but our aim is to try and get as many of them into a paid internship as possible. And we also encourage the mentor to support the young person in finding internships for themselves, because also that encourages them to be able to learn about applying for jobs and looking for new opportunities and applying for different jobs. And then what we do is then support them into making sure that it's a paid internship and they go according to the guidelines that we provide. Now, one of the things that I really want to promote is our career builder, and it's a virtual workplace visit and industry insight sessions. So what it consists of is suitable for key stage 3, 4, and 5. I will provide the timetable of when this takes place, but it's a virtual event where they get to kind of have interaction, and we make it as interactive as possible, where they learn about the various different insights within various different industries, finance, in the corporate world, in creative, and within those sessions, we might have breakout, they might have different activities, they may have actual kind of workshop activities that they will need to do. And it's delivered by leading businesses from a broad range of industries. So we do want to kind of make it as catered and interactive as possible. It's designed to engage students, including an interactive tasks, as I mentioned, and questions and answers, so that they feel like they're getting something from it. And obviously, we aim to support the Gatsby benchmark, where they encounter with employers and employees. So this is the timetable that's coming up. So we have one coming up in June and in July. And all they need to do is sign up via our Eventbrite. So as you can see, the first one is with Arcadis. It's a global design, engineering, and management and consulting company. The next one is with Waits, leading construction, development, and property services company in the UK, and Equans, and the facilities management company that specializes in green technology. So as you can see, it's a versatile virtual event that has various different things that will take place that young people can learn from. So what I can do, I can share this Eventbrite, but here is the details for it. My colleague is heading up, called Claire. So if you would want further information about this, then we have this available to you, and obviously I can put it within the chat as well. But with Career Ready, let me stop sharing my screen if I can. Brilliant. Yeah, with Career Ready, we at the moment, Essex is kind of just honing on with the schools that we're working with right now, but we do aim in the next year or so to branch out into further colleges and schools and working with more employers. But obviously, as you know, with charities and so forth, it's about funding. It's getting that funding that is going to be able to make the sustainability of our programs as successful and obviously have the impact that we so desire. I know I've probably used less time than needed, but that's brilliant. But if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thanks, Lynette. There is a question in the chat. Is there a cost to using Career Ready?
No, there's no cost for the student, or even obviously we were aimed to with the employers to obviously fund us as much as possible, and obviously have various different funding that comes in. So, for example, with the SMEs. We have some funding that we get them to kind of contribute 25, depending on obviously how large they are, 25 to 50% towards the paid internship. So that encourages as many of them as possible to provide the paid internships for our students. But there is no cost for schools and colleges.
Okay, so all of those experiences of the workplace, the virtual events, that's all free as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's brilliant.
With all those kind of things, the only thing that if they had to, for example, go to an event, obviously we would work out whether there's funding to support traveling, but usually obviously because we're national, we can't obviously cater for those travels all the time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Lynette? Hyla.
Sorry. The first opportunity that you offered with the mentoring and then potentially the internship, is it the young people that apply for that, and can any young person in Essex apply for that, or is it only this very specific schools you're working with?
It's the specific schools. So until we branch out, so obviously we are letting people know that what the program is, but I think at the moment Essex is looking to kind of.
Oh, you've gone mute.
Sorry, I have children in the background. It's that time. So they're going, mummy, and I told them to be quiet. So yeah, so with that being said, we are looking to branch out. But obviously we need to kind of see that obviously there's more schools interested, as well as obviously making sure that there's funding available to make sure that we execute it as best as we can.
So if there are schools and colleges that are interested, but perhaps aren't one of your schools and colleges at the moment, do you want them to come to you to express your interest? Is it useful for us to try to collate that list?
It's always good. You can go on
that?
our website, careerready.org.uk. And look up obviously what we do, and follow an interest. And I definitely believe the more interest we have, then obviously we can then go to employers and funders and say, look at what we've got. We've got more schools and scholars that want to be a part of this program. And so get on board, because it's a great way of skilling up our students, as well as and we also sell it to our employers to say, you have access to a pool of young people that are willing to get into your industry, and you have the opportunity to train them up.
Yeah, brilliant. The virtual encounters that you offer, the ones, I think there's 3 in the list at the end, are they open to any school because they're virtual? Again, is that just the schools that you're currently working with, or can anyone access
for the
those?
career bit, for that virtual one, that's across Essex. So anyone that wants to be involved in that, as I said, I can put it through the chat in terms of the Eventbrite, or send it over to Charlotte. But then you could be able to access it, as long as obviously you sign up. It's all good.
Perfect, brilliant, thank you. I haven't got any more questions, Charlotte, sorry.
All right. All right. Anyone else? No? All right, thanks very much. We will send through all of the slides afterwards, and there's stuff in the chat as well. Thanks very much, Lynette, if you need to go and rescue your poor neglected children.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right, now, not last but not least, we've got Daisy, and you were the first to arrive. You've sat patiently waiting all the way through. So Daisy's from World Skills. If you want to share your slides.
Yeah, it's great to be with you all. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for having me. And
Thanks
hopefully No, my pleasure. And hopefully everybody can see the slides. I know that it is just before probably home time, wrapping up time. So I'll try to keep it as snappy and engaging as possible. We've done a lot of listening today, but yeah, it's great to be with you. As I said, I'm Daisy. I'm the Careers Development Manager at World Skills UK. I've been part of the team for just under a year now. And prior to that, I think it's always useful to set a bit of context. For 4 years, I worked managing an employability program in South London that supported young people who had barriers to employment, education or training into education, employment or training through a coaching program that looked at the skills that they needed, the mindsets, the resources. So that was things such as they may have been young carers, they may have not had their GCSEs, and those sorts of things. So now in this role, I'd love to share with you about our careers advocacy. And this presentation, some of you maybe have heard of World Skills UK before and our competitions, but just to do a little bit of a recap, we are a 4 nations partnership between education, industry and UK governments. And it's a world-class skills network acting as a catalyst for raising standards through our international benchmarking and professional development. So we have free CPD resources. The international benchmarking comes under our competitions, which I'll talk about in just a minute. We also champion future skills through analysis of rapidly changing economic demand. We're all for a skills economy and making sure that young people are prepared, supported, and have what they need to be able to be a part of a thriving skills economy in the UK and a thriving career and life for themselves. And from that, as it says here, we're all about empowering young people from all backgrounds through competitions-based training and careers advocacy. So to talk a little bit more about those competitions, we are part of a bigger global movement called World Skills, and there are 85 members of World Skills. And together, we will actually inspire and support 100 million young people to get ahead with skills by 2023. And I mentioned about the skills economy as well. You've probably heard about this before, but we recently did a report on the skills economy and the case for it. And for us at World Skills UK, it's so important when we talk about the skills economy, which is this concept in which governments, employers, parents and young people recognise being that highly skilled is really valuable for success. And they also acknowledge the potential of technical skills to power economic growth. And it basically relies on this understanding that the economic value of the skills people have and how this can be applied productively at work is extremely important. And actually for us, we were talking about higher education, university earlier with Paul, we have always had a focus on the knowledge economy. And this isn't to discredit the knowledge economy and say that, you know, that's not valuable. Actually, what we're saying is when the knowledge and the skills economy go hand in hand, it is a recipe for success. And so for us today as careers leaders, educators, working with young people, we have a real role to play in helping young people see the importance of skills and the importance of knowledge coming together. And that's what I want to talk to you about today with our resources. I've got a really quick video to share with you and hopefully the sound works. Let's see.
At World Skills UK, we are using international best practice to raise standards in apprenticeships and technical education, so more young people and employers succeed. We are a proud member of World Skills, a global movement of over 80 countries, which supports young people's development through competitions-based training, assessment and benchmarking, culminating in the Biennial Skills Olympics. The insights we gain from being part of this global network means we can innovate to help employers by benchmarking with skill systems from across the world to inform policy and practice, ensuring high-quality skills and boosting the UK economy. We are developing educators by sharing international best practice to deliver high-quality training and assessment. We inspire young people, whatever their background, to choose high-quality apprenticeships and technical education as a prestigious career route. We stand for excellence at work, because investing in higher quality technical education means our young people, our economy, and our country will flourish.
Fantastic. That means that the tech worked and you could all hear it. So you heard their reference to competitions, and a lot of people know us for the massive national finals that we used to run at the NEC in Birmingham, and huge careers events that kind of acted as wraparound around that. But I just wanted to set the scene a little bit more about what these skills competitions are. And they're designed by industry experts, and they assess a young person's or an individual's knowledge, practical skills and employability attributes against a set criteria in a competitive and timed environment. And actually, those who take part in our skills competitions, they benefit from the fine-tuning of their critical skills, the attributes and behaviours that are valued by employers, such as problem solving, self-reflection, time management, the ability to work well under pressure. And our programmes enable participants to bring world-class skills back to their organisations, improving productivity. So ultimately, we're looking at impacting a young person's employability. And what it allows also businesses and education to do is benchmark against a national and international standard of performance. So the way that it works and it all comes together is that our competitions, ranging from a variety of 54 different skills, are open to young people aged 16 and above, I believe studying a level 3 qualification. And they will register, take part in entry stage, and that entry stage is a regional competition that happens across the country. Then from that, we kind of get our national competitors. So then they will go on in November to compete in their skill. And that's an event that takes place over a couple of days. And again, is judged by industry experts, where they'll be watching closely after setting a task of how that person completes that task and the standard at which they do that. They receive bronze, gold and silver. So it is basically the Skills Olympics. And then from that, that person has the opportunity to be selected for squad. And then from Squad UK, we then choose Team UK, who are those competitors that compete internationally against all the other countries' top competitors too. And it's from that experience we're also then able to look at what other competitors are doing, the way that they've been trained, the skill that they have, and say, okay, so why did that person and that country get gold? What is it that they're doing? Why did we get silver? Actually, why did we get gold? Why did they get silver? What are we doing well? And how can we share those insights to see the quality of skills and training increase? And ultimately, for young people taking part, you can see the benefits of our competitions there. So 97% say that it improved their technical skills, 93% said that it improved their personal and employability skills, and 90% said that they could apply the skills that they developed. And so I wanted to set the scene of competitions because for us in our careers advocacy work, it does go hand in hand, the competitions and the skills. Very much kind of are this stage of showcasing the different careers and different industries that are available to young people. It's a real way of helping them hone their skills, improve their employability and develop professionally and personally. But those competitors actually become our skills champions who are our alumni. And I look after our skills champions who form an integral part of our World Skills careers. Resources and also messaging. Those skills champions are ambassadors for not only their skills, but technical education and apprenticeships. And so our World Skills UK Careers advocacy is all about inspiring young people, as we've said, whatever their background, to choose high quality apprenticeships and technical education as a prestigious career route. We focus on Gatsby benchmarks 5 and 7. And also we focus on technical sectors, STEM, future skills and digital skills. And the way that we do this is by working with employers and industry, ultimately to be able to help you. So employers and industry, they have the career-specific intel. They know what the trends are. They know what the skills gaps are. They know kind of what they're looking for in employees. They're the ones who are able to articulate this and share this. They also have the employees who have been through these career journeys themselves, who are authentic and relatable to young people. And they also know about the routes into the industry. Particularly for us, it's those technical routes, thinking about that skills economy that I talked about earlier. So for young people who are thinking about their next steps post 16, actually our resources are designed for key stage 3 and 4, but there's nothing to stop you from using it with those who might be younger or even a little bit older, because we look at higher technical education routes as well as technical education routes overall. And then what we do is we look to bring this together to be able to support you with delivering careers information and education around technical pathways, around STEM careers, around future skills, and particularly looking at those Gatsby benchmarks 5 and 7. And that's what working with employers does, and also particularly bringing those pathways to life. So there are two main ways that we look to support you to reach those benchmarks. The first is our Careers Advice Toolkit, and this was created in 2019 in partnership with Youth Employment UK and a variety of other partners. And what it does is it takes young people through being able to assess their skills and their strengths, so they have the language to be able to talk about what they're good at, what they enjoy and what they look for in a career, helps them to understand themselves a bit more and about, what their own internal drivers are. Once they have that foundation and they know what's important to them and they can talk about their skills and their strengths, we then look at exploring where they could go with that. So particularly here, that's where we're looking at those technical pathways. We're looking at what are apprenticeships, what are your rights as an apprentice, what are employers looking for when they're hiring apprentices, what are technical education routes, what are your post-16 options, why would you look at studying at college, for example, what might you consider doing as an alternative to university, why is that just as good, and actually for young people, why is it better than maybe going to university? I know for me, when working with those young people who face barriers into employment or education, actually vocational routes and apprenticeships were natural go-tos for them because it was about what they could do, not so much about the way that they thought or the knowledge that they had. And so what it does when you talk about technical education and skills is it kind of creates a level playing field in a way. And then finally, once they've looked at those routes, we help them to prepare and then act on those. So thinking about CV writing, interview skills, and then actually career action planning and being able to put that into a plan that they can take forward. So those are all PDFs and PowerPoints that are downloadable. And I've talked a bit about what they do, but actually this week we will have these going live as e-modules on our World Skills UK Learning Lab. And so what that means is that we've taken this content, we've updated it, and so it is completely interactive. And it means that you can walk your group or class through it, but it also means that you can get a young person to log in themselves and they can work through the module in their own time. And on average, each module takes around 25 minutes. There are videos in there, again, particularly thinking about those Gatsby benchmarks of encounters with employers and employees. We want young people to understand what it takes to be successful in that workplace. What are the skills that they're looking for in that workplace? Not just the technical skills of actually, being able to, or looking at welding, for example, being able to weld well. Maybe that wasn't a good choice, weld well, but actually thinking about the transferable skills, those soft skills that they already have, that might just encourage them to see a career as being more accessible or myth bust, or just open up their eyes in terms of what they could do next. And hopefully what this does is it allows you to deliver bite-sized, informative content that genuinely does make a difference in helping them to think about their next steps. So although we focus on Gatsby benchmarks 5 and 7 here, it also forms part of benchmark 1, benchmark 2 and 3, thinking about personal guidance, thinking about tailoring it to a young person's needs. We've got reflection sheets that go alongside these where they can take away information and digest it. And we've got questions such as, how could an apprenticeship benefit you? What do you think could be a good next step? Who do you need to speak to find out more from? Who's someone who you can go and talk to this about? So we've tried to make it extremely practical. So I'll share with Charlotte when that goes live. because all of our resources are completely free to use as well. So finally, just before I close, we also have our massive Spotlight on Careers videos that you may have seen me email about. I know Hyla probably got my emails about those last year. But previously, when we did our massive live event in person at the NEC, we'd have around 70,000 visitors at that event. And it happened on stage, and we'd gather employers and employees, and they would talk about what they did, they'd answer questions. And obviously, when the pandemic hit, couldn't do that anymore, so we moved to live streaming sessions instead and taking live Q&A. And I know that timetables have gone back to normal, but we're still in this hybrid world, and time is always of the essence. So what we've done is we've made 8 45-minute long spotlight episodes that are focused on different sectors. But despite them being 45 minutes long, they're actually broken up into 4 chunks. So each chunk is designed to meet a specific benchmark, and we've worked with industry experts. You would have seen on the previous slide, we've worked with Amazon, BCS, BAE Systems, Autodesk, the BFI, Springboard, a variety of different partners to be able to give you an overview of the industry. So learning about labour market information from professionals such as directors, heads of, who've done research, to be able to myth bust, again, to be able to talk about future skills that are coming up and the need for skills and young people in this sector. Segment 2 is all about hearing from those young apprentice technical education role models. We've also got university students in there so that a young person can hear about the 2 different journeys side by side and see that actually they're just as good as each other and what they involve and what they lead on to. They also talk about what they do day to day and what their passion is. In segment 3, this is brand new. We didn't do this before, but it's all about linking curriculum to the career. So what we've done here is we've worked with the industry experts to come up with a task that relates to the industry or the occupation that we're looking at. And then for young people, what it does is it helps to highlight how the subjects that they're studying right now actually come into this career, even if it was things that they didn't think about before. So in the accounting episode we did with ICAW, we talk about how it's not all about number crunching. If they were to remove an olive from an in-flight meal as an accountant, actually what would they need to do to communicate that well? Because communication is a key part of the job. Who are the stakeholders they'd need to speak to? How would they present that information? How would they discuss and actually reason the rationale behind making that decision in the first place? And then finally, we look at pathways. So we talk about T-level routes in, we look at higher technical education, so foundation degree to higher degrees, degree apprenticeships. We are also looking at how that compares, as I said, with those traditional academic routes too, and what they can lead on to next. So that is our resources in a nutshell. Hopefully I haven't gone on too long. And if you've got any questions, I'm really happy to take those now, but my email is there too, and Charlotte, I'm sure, will pass it on. But we make these resources for you to use. And if you have any feedback, if you think that there's something we could do to support you with, if there is anything that isn't exactly clear or you've got more questions, please let me know, because as I say, we just want to make sure that what we do supports you well and it hits the nail on the head. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll stop screen sharing.
Thank you, Daisy. There aren't any questions in the chat, but has anybody got anything they want to ask? No, I think that means you were very thorough.
Good.
But we will share everything, and your contact details were there on the slides as well. So thank you so much, Daisy.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Charlotte, for arranging those speakers for us as well. Really, really good mixture of
it's good variety,
in person, of virtual, of uni, of all the different progression routes. So thank you for pulling those three together. Really, really useful. And as Charlotte said, we'll all those video will go on our YouTube channel, and I'll share the link to that in just a second. But we'll also send you out the different presentations and resources and contact details and things that were shared during the session as well. Conscious of time, and apologies, we've gone, what is now 2 minutes over, damn it, I thought I was going to be able to say 1. But if anyone does have any questions at all, then feel free to ask, put them in the chat, stay with us after, and we'll be here if you have any questions. But if not, thank you so much for coming, and we hope to see you all on the all the careers leaders on the 13th of June. 13th of June for our Careers Leader Network event. Lauren, thank you for nodding. I couldn't remember the date, so thank you. I'm glad someone not in our team knows what we're doing, so that's good. So yeah, I hope to see you all then. I did put the link for that in the chat as well, but do it's been on the last couple of our Careers Leader newsletters as well, so do click the chat to click the link on there too. And I hope you all have a lovely evening. And so if any of you do want to stick around, if you've got any questions, then we will stay here for a little while. But if not, enjoy the rest of your evening, which hopefully the sun will come out for. And we'll see you in about a month's time for that Careers Leader Network meeting. Thanks very much, everyone.